Good evening, folks. I'll call the Hanwell Rural Community Regular Meeting of Council for March the 18th, 2024 to order. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I move to approve the agenda with the following addition: 12D donation request, support for Hanwell para-athlete.
I'll second.
Do we have a second?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded. Motion carried. Thank you. Item 3, can I get a motion to adopt the minutes from the February 21st, 24 regular meeting of council?
I move to adopt the minutes of the February 21st, 2024 regular meeting of council.
I'll second.
Question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded. Motion carried. Thank you. Ms. Johnson, do we have any public input inquiries tonight?
We do not.
No, we do not. Moving on to disclosures. Council, any disclosures?
No.
Moving on to reports. We have the fire department.
Evening, worship, council, public. February, 11 runs actually. Most were alarm. Not too bad in February, we only had 2 MVCs. And one mutual aid call with New Maryland. Any questions?
Easy night, chief.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't even need to know what they're burning down in Maryland.
Can I have a motion to receive the fire chief's report, please?
I move to receive the fire report for February 2024 as presented. I'll second it.
Questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded? Motion carried. I'm just going to stray from the agenda a little bit because I go back to item 4 where I asked for public input. We've had some issues over the past on public input. We've made it quite easy for residents to come and address Hanwell. What we find over time with some false statements and personal attacks to council or staff. We're going to implement the bylaw that we have. If you look at the procedural bylaw 01214, section 10 under public attendance, section D, any person, association, organization, or other body wishing to address council shall make an appointment with the clerk at least 3 calendar days before the close of the agenda and at least 10 calendar days before the meeting. So from anybody from now on wishing to address council, she'll follow the procedure. It's unfortunate that we've had to implement that, but over our past experiences, it's come to that. It's by no means looking to impede the ability of citizens to address council, but that's going to be the bylaw that we have. It's been in place since 2014 and we're going to follow it. Okay, moving on to item 7, presentation from Mr. Nicholson.
Okay. Sorry, this is, I guess, our second time. We should have been here the last time. Sorry. A little bit of a mix-up. Do you want to hand these out? So, we're here to present the Bailey Cafe. She made some treats to give out to you guys. A little bit of a suck-up, but it's good. So I don't know how many we have, but you guys can.
Sorry, suck in.
Well, there you go. You guys can dig in there.
That's funny.
There's a couple different things. So these cupcakes are amazing.
They're actually they're vegan. I made the muffins that taste like donuts. These are little ones here. I got them.
This is an old family recipe.
Yes. These are vegan. My daughter was allergic to eggs, so I really learned how to cook vegan. But
I'm old, so.
yeah, take one. Help yourself. Whichever one. I know it might be a little stuck. It's too much sugar.
So this is kind of ironic as well because we're both, we're in the 1%ers as far as like only 1% of the population siblings have type 1 diabetes. So great thing to be in the top 1% on. So
They look good. I'm going to try one
and
of
she
these.
makes stuff like this all the
Thank you very
time.
much.
So really have to drive the insulin into you.
I have Ozempic, thank you.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
What is that?
He has Ozempic.
Oh.
So where's this one?
Oh, this is a muffin that tastes like donut. Donut muffin.
Can I have one of those?
There you go.
Help yourself.
Awesome, awesome.
So, do you guys want one? Is it- okay. You sure?
Thank you for allowing me.
Oh my word, well, yours, use
Yeah,
it,
no,
might as
absolutely.
well. Here's extra, I don't wanna take these home.
I will, that's fine.
Before you go to waste, you might as well go to mine.
Well, that's it. So, yeah, so, you know, this is actually kind of her thing, but, she gets nervous in situations like this, and
Well,
I've had
I
to do
mean,
this a few
yeah.
times, so I know
He's better at
I know how it goes, so. Like, our family kind of pushes her towards, this pretty nonstop. You know, she's the one who bakes things all the time, and she loves coffee, and that's kind of her thing, so we were like, you need to open a cafe, and she lives out on Smith Road.
Yeah.
She tells us all the time, and so she drives by that every day, and she says, it's gonna be so cool to have a cafe in there, so that's kind of why I reached out, because, you know, I knew that she's like the busiest human in the world, and so I was like, I'll do it for you and reach out, so that's where we are now, and so that's kind of how we, you know, obviously came up with the name. We wanted to think of something that was Hanwell, and he established Hanwell, so that's kind of why we went with that name, so, yeah, you can go to the next slide, I think, yeah. So yeah, just, you know, bring a little heart and flavor to Hanwell, kind of a community-centric cafe and bakery, so just transforming that little white church, having a little patio outside, things like that, just kind of becoming a staple in the Hanwell, as there is nothing out here like that, and I think that it would do really well out here and be kind of a destination for outsiders to come as well, so that's the introduction, so yeah, I guess you can continue on. It's been so long, I kind of forget how I even did this. So yeah, so again, you know, we were kind of looking up what would be a cool name to have, and then we were doing a little history, little research on Hanwell, and we figured out that he came here, and so we were like, well, let's go with that. I mean, it's something that I think it sounds kind of nice, and things like the Bailey Brew, or bite into a Bailey bun, things like that. We can kind of have fun with that. So get a little bit adventurous. Just don't add an S to the buns and just the Bailey bun. But yeah, that's kind of why we want to call it that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can go ahead. So this is her family. So her husband is a carpenter, and so he
loves doing work for free.
Yeah, he loves doing work for free for her, which is great. So, and she's run a cleaning business for the past 6 years, mainly in the Hanwell. A lot of her clients are not thrilled that she's venturing into this, because, you know, obviously they like having their house clean. So, but she's just the hardest worker ever, and so I know that if she were to put everything into this, that it would definitely take off. You know, obsessed with making goods for us, and I mean, I know my family doesn't complain, so it's great. Yeah, you can go to the next one there. So yeah, really just a place for the community to be able to come, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a huge space inside. We're actually not really sure how big it is inside, if it would fit a little kitchen in there to have a bakery. The idea is to be able to have enough space to make baked goods to sell to other cafes and things like that around town, do bulk orders for weddings, catering events, things like that. If there's not space there, we do have access to a Class 5 kitchen that we can use, and then just transport everything. So that's kind of the vision, I guess. And I mean, just right beside the park and the trails is such an amazing spot. Get a coffee, walk through the trails, things like that. So
There's no good coffee out here.
no. This is the gas station.
Well, yeah.
It kind of cuts off a little bit on the bottom. That's all right. So, you know, why local entrepreneur? You know, she's a community member. You know, the personal investment, of course, of kind of revamping that place, and then it's a local business. I don't want to read you all that and just bore you to tears. I mean, you probably understand. You know, it's a community person, personal investment, and then again, it's a local business. So that's kind of the why a local entrepreneur.
You spilled some coffee on that paper.
Yeah. So the benefits to the community is kind of creating that social hub, a place for locals to gather, relax, and connect, supporting local events, so events here at the rec center, things like that, co-hosting things and whatnot, you know, economic benefits, job creation, as local as we can get, sourcing ingredients, and then boosting some local tourism. So some of the products would be, you know, hot and cold beverages, coffee, Italian sodas, things like that. I don't know if you've ever had Italian sodas, but they're delicious. It's like soda water with ice, and you put different flavorings in. So it could be salted caramel and cream. It's really good. I don't know if any of you ever tried Physiology. It's downtown, where like the scooter place is. So that was our other business that we had down there. So, but yeah, so those are really good. Food and pastries, soups and sandwiches as well, and then services, catering, potentially pop-up coffee services, and then coffee shop rentals for events. Sustainability, plans for eco-friendly practices, like she does make vegan things as well, so that's very sustainable. Reusable dishware, green space and composting, kind of outside and around, be able to just kind of take advantage of being sort of in the woods type thing, so yeah, that's it for that one. So community, different nights, could do art and music nights, charity events, could even have a community garden around there, educational workshops, and then public washrooms. The idea may be to have public washrooms accessible from the outside, so walkers and people who are in the woods can just use it without cluttering up the inside, something like that.
Doesn't want to work.
I'm having troubles. Technical.
If you press the right arrow button, it should move too, I think.
Oh,
Oh,
No? Oh.
is that the end, maybe?
I don't think so, but maybe
it wants to. My backwards.
maybe it is the end.
Maybe.
Well, it shouldn't be, but I guess it is. But I mean, I think you can get the gist of it and kind of what we're trying to do. Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
See
What's
the,
the end?
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Did you volunteer, Wallace?
Yeah, I guess
Have
that's
the hand waving
a very
goodbye.
abrupt ending. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to do. And before we put much more work into it, we obviously wanted to see if it's even possible to do. And so that's kind of obviously why we came here, because it's only possible if we come here and talk to you folks about it. So, any questions? She'll answer the questions.
I guess.
I'm just curious where you're operating out of now, because these are delicious.
Are they okay? Just my house.
Somewhere on Smith Road.
Yeah.
We'll have to track that
The new
down.
part of Smith Road.
Yeah,
there,
we just moved out about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Out here, yeah, in Smith, so.
Yeah, welcome to Hamilton.
Well, thank
Yes,
you.
indeed.
Ever since
Yeah.
she's had a wild amount of Hanwell pride. And
Yeah, I mean,
we all know it, and we love it too. I love it here. My
Oh,
uncle
yeah.
lived out
My
here.
uncle have all the lights on Smith Road.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
All the Christmas lights.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's my-
okay.
It's my own uncle's house.
Oh, okay. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'll
we always
probably
love
never leave Hanwell now that I'm here. But I've heard that that's a thing. Once you're here, you don't want to leave.
It's like the Hotel California.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, Lauren will drive you away sooner or later.
Oh, well, yeah.
Does your father visit very often?
Oh, he'll drive. He'll make the drive.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
Pop out in the Purelator truck.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
That's how I know.
Oh, nice.
Like, at this point in time, we don't even know if it can be done. We'll have to, again, we're trying to check with DNR. We lease that property.
Yep.
So we're trying to check with DNR if that's even a possibility.
Okay.
It may be and it may not be, but that's the first thing we'd have to check out for sure.
Sure.
The other question that always comes to mind that people seem to want to avoid, but it's usually one of the ones I bring up, is what about cost? Because we're looking at using that building for a commercial enterprise. There'll certainly be a lot of cost in renovating it.
Yeah, and so as far as, we haven't really put a lot of thought into that, but as far as getting it up to code so that it is, leasable, I guess, I don't even know if that's a word.
Yeah.
And then as far as doing anything cosmetic and whatnot, we would handle that side of it, but just getting things up to code so that it does pass inspection, and then we would take it over and do everything as far as, whatever they want to do. I mean, that's not my thing, but like I said, he's a carpenter, so he would be able to do all of that work, and so that's kind of maybe initially we were thinking is if the building was up to code, and then we would take over and do the renovations on what it would actually look like inside. Bathrooms and everything.
Just so you're aware, we have been, for quite some time, COVID kind of got in our way and a few other things. We have been looking at plans to renovate that building. One of the issues, which you've been aware of, maybe not, because it is a public building, there are really quite stringent codes for public buildings. And so it'll be, part of the reason it's not done is it's quite expensive.
Yeah, we imagine.
So, I mean, it is something where, like I say, where renovations have been sort of put back and forth with council and that sort of thing. So it is something that's on our radar, but unfortunately, we haven't made any decisions quite yet on.
Yeah. Well, we're certainly not in a hurry. You know, she's doing her
Just
thing
still working.
and just not how she does it. And it's the busy season for me soon for the scooters, so I'm, you know, it's.
Oh, you have scooters.
Yeah. And so that was, the other thing, it'd be kind of cool to have, because people can bike on those trails out there, so it'd be cool to rent bike. They're not allowed to bike?
Well, they can, but
They just don't?
it's,
It's a little rough for a scooter.
Oh, for a scooter, but a bike, like an actual, like pedal bike.
There are mountain bikes in there, for sure.
Yeah.
But there's a rubberized surface on the ability trail that we certainly have concerns with too, and how bikes are going to affect them. So
Right.
that's something we're looking at in the
Yeah.
meantime. Councillor Fox, you have a question?
Yeah, so you talked a little bit about it, but I'm just wondering about what your time frame is, so.
I don't think there is one.
There isn't really a
There's no
time
rush.
frame, yeah, there's not
Yeah.
a huge rush on it,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
This was the first step to kick things
Yeah.
off and you know, her words, get out of the way. So that was the first step, so.
Okay, any other questions? No? Everybody's good? Well, I want to thank you for a very interesting presentation.
For a second time.
Yeah. It certainly leaves council something to chew on, so it's
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. Literally and figuratively, yeah, absolutely. You know, we'd love to stay and watch the rest, but I think we'll head out.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Oh, yeah, stay.
Is this yours?
That's mine, yeah.
Do you want another one, Gary?
No, I think I'm.
Do you want another one?
No, I do, but I can probably eat the whole bin of them.
Oh, same.
They're fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to item 8. No, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, item 8, yeah. Building permit applications. We do have one for a detached garage, and it's being constructed by the owner. So I'm sure things will start picking up as the weather gets better and the ground thaws out and dries up and that sort of thing.
It's a brand new house being built on Carriage Hill, and I'm quite sure it's in the Hanwell area.
Yeah, they might not have applied for a permit yet. The Hanwell area is quite distinctive when you're going down Carriage Hill. It's where the end of the chip seal is and the start of the pavement is the actual line for Hanwell.
Yeah, literally the line.
And it's up actually in,
Okay, that's that lot that just sold there very recently.
yeah, and they've already started construction
Oh,
on
great.
in there, so hopefully we'll get a little help.
Okay, so we do have a proclamation. It is, which I'll read tonight, whereas Purple Day is a global effort dedicated to promoting epilepsy awareness in countries around the world, and whereas epilepsy is one of the most common neurological conditions estimated to affect over 50 million people worldwide, and 42 people in Canada are diagnosed every day, and whereas 1 in 10 persons will have at least one seizure during his or her lifetime, and whereas the public is often unable to recognize common seizure types or how to respond with appropriate first aid, and whereas Purple Day will be celebrated on March 26th annually to increase understanding, reduce stigma, and improve the quality of life for people with epilepsy throughout the country and globally. Now, therefore, I do proclaim March 26, 24 as Purple Day in order to raise awareness of epilepsy in Canada. Okay, item 10, petitions and delegations. We don't have any tonight. We already had one presentation from Matt, and that was earlier. So item 11, business arising. Item A, bylaw 32/2024, a bylaw respecting dangers or unsightly premises. Third reading by title and summary and enacted. Can I get a motion, please?
Be resolved that the council of the rural community of Hanwell hereby authorizes that bylaw number 32/2024, bylaw respecting dangerous or unsightly premises, be read by summary pursuant to section 15(4) of the Local Governments Act.
Okay,
I can read that.
we need
I'll
that.
I'll second. Sorry, paying attention.
Okay.
and you read it, right?
It needs to be, the motion needs to be approved first, then I read the summary.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded? Motion carried, thank you.
Okay, the summary, so definitions, section 130, offenses and penalties relating to dangerous or unsightly premises, section 131, notice to owner or occupier, section 132, evidence, section 133, appeal, section 134, registering a notice, section 135, offense and penalty for failure to comply with the notice, section 136, power to clean, repair, or demolish, section 137, report required before demolition, section 138, emergency, section 139, offense and penalty for obstruction, section 140, recovery of the local government's costs, filing a certificate, section 141, lien, section 142, debts paid by Minister of Finance and Treasury Board, section 143. Be it enacted, the Council of the Rural Community of Hanwell as follows. 1. This bylaw may be cited as a Rural Community of Hanwell dangerous or unsightly premises bylaw. 2. The Council of the Rural Community of Hanwell hereby declares that sections 130 to 143 of the Local Governments Act and amendments thereto shall apply to the entire area within the municipal limits of the Rural Community of Hanwell. 3. This bylaw comes into force on the date of the final passing thereof. 4. Bylaw number 13-2016, a bylaw respecting dangerous or unsightly premises enacted on the 10th day of May 2017 and amended on the 16th day of January 2019 is hereby repealed.
Okay, can I get somebody to read motion 2?
I move that bylaw number 32-2024, a bylaw respecting dangerous or unsightly premises, be given its third reading by title, in summary, and enacted.
I'll second.
Seconder, any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded? Motion carried.
Bylaw number 32-2024, a bylaw respecting dangerous or unsightly premises.
Thank you, Councillor McKenzie. Item B, recording of committee meetings. I have a motion.
I move that as of March 18th, 2024, the recording of committee meetings and staff management sessions or meetings will cease. However, all regular, special, and emergency meetings of council will continue to be recorded, with those recordings being placed on the website beside the minutes of said meetings.
I will second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary, oh, I think I put, is there any questions first? Yeah.
I
Call for the
would like,
questions. Yes.
I would like to speak to that.
Yes.
So, in May of 2023, I made the motion to record the committee meetings, as there were many residents that couldn't physically attend public meetings, and because we now have a broader geographical area, which makes it more difficult for residents to attend due to time constraints, the increasing price of gas. And I also believe that it was in the best interest of the municipality to be inclusive and transparent. And that motion passed by a vote of 6-1, and now we're back to seizing those recordings. In my opinion, I still believe that the recordings are necessary for all the reasons that I stated. Also, at the last Parks and Infrastructure meeting, I heard numerous times, I can't recall that, I have a memory like a goldfish, or if memory serves me correctly. And I also believe the recordings still allow us to go back and check on the information that we previously stated. I'm also concerned that not recording the meetings will mean an increase in the number of our TIPAs that we're receiving, as residents won't believe we're being transparent. Another reason for me is that we're having presentations at management sessions, which residents should be able to hear. And I don't think committee reports accurately reflect or don't reflect discussion. So residents may not have a clear picture of recommendations that are coming forward. And even if the number of listeners are low, at least we're reaching out to some of our constituents, and they in turn may be discussing issues with other residents. As for having to edit out sensitive information, that's just part of the process when councillors participate in frank discussion, in my opinion. But I also believe that recordings can help maintain decorum at committee meetings. All that to say, in my opinion, the benefits of audio recordings outweigh the negatives, especially with regard to transparency and inclusivity. And so for these reasons, I won't vote in favor of the motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Heislip. Any other questions, comments?
The councillor does bring up some reasonable points. I wasn't here when the decision to record these. of two modes, personally. One, the amount of time that it does take is prohibitive on the staff at this particular time. If we had more staff and their workload was distributed accordingly, then in turn, I perhaps would consider maintaining the recordings of these sessions. But right now, our staff is pushed to the limit. And there are numerous things that, I'm not going to say are falling by the wayside, but I don't think they can adequately do their job. And it's not because they can't, as far as being capable of, they just don't, we just don't have the staffing. So I'm caught between a rock and a hard place as far as making that decision. I understand wholly what Councillor Hislop is saying. I also understand and appreciate what our staff is going through. And I can appreciate why we're doing this, or why we're putting a motion forward. But it's, again, if we had more staff, then in turn the workload would spread a little bit more reasonably than something along maintaining these recorded sessions. Might be reasonable, but again, I'm still not 100% sure.
Thank you, Councillor Holt. Any other comments, questions? Good. Okay, I'll call for the vote once again. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded?
Nay.
So yeah, we're 6-2, 6 in favor, 2 naysayers, and in that case, the motion's carried. Thank you very much, Council. Okay, item C, the Kingswood, the tax levy on the motel. Is there anything new in that?
I would like to bring something up for discussion.
Sure.
I sent an email to Sherry this morning, and I'm just questioning on this breakdown. We are showing the income and expenses for the year 2023. We're showing a total income $105,391.04. And then we have expenses to the tune of $41,132.19. And the expenses are for the reimbursement of tourism advertising for the establishment. That's 39% of the income. That's $41,000 that, to me, potentially could be utilized in developing the tourism base of Hanwell. My understanding is the city of Fredericton does not give back any of those monies collected through the tax levy. So the question I'm asking firstly is, are those expenses going directly back to the Radisson, or are they going to, again, being a rookie, newbie, going back to the Capital Region Service Commission as something that they are collecting from us? If it's going back to, directly to the Radisson, I honestly feel we should have further discussion as to what we're going to be actually doing, whether we're going to continue that process or whether we're going to be adjusting the figure. Again, $41,000. You can pay almost 2/3 of a full employee's salary with that. Hire another person, and part and parcel of their job description is work towards the development of tourism within Hanwell.
Just as a point of order, I think that we should push that, unless there's a specific action that we're looking to have tonight, that probably should be pushed to the management meeting and a discussion with the treasurer present to have more information answered about that. Was there an actual ask for us tonight to do something to action on this?
No, this was just, you guys wanted an update on the expenses and she just wanted to provide it to you.
Okay, can we push this to the management meeting then, so we can have, find out from when the treasurer returns?
I agree.
Was ever that monies, and I'm not sure, it was my understanding that the Legislative Tourism Services Fund, whatever they were asking, that was going to go to the Regional Service Commission, was that being paid out of that tourism levy?
Not as of now.
No, I don't think so, no, that's on top of this.
But that's something we were again looking at using that tourism money for.
We did discuss that. I don't know if we found out if we could or not. I'm not really sure what the outcome of that was, or if we ever did find out even.
So again, you know, to take this further, we certainly need more information, so Councillor Holt, your comments are, yeah.
Yeah, if this was just to be an update on how much we have, then I think
Okay.
that we should.
So as for an update,
Discussion.
and again, it'll certainly be a matter for council to discuss at a future date.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Item 12, correspondence. We had correspondence from a resident regarding the tax rate. Can I get a motion to receive the correspondence from the resident?
I move to, go ahead.
I move to receive the correspondence from a resident with respect to the tax rate.
Can I second it? Yeah. Any questions? Everybody's had a correspondence, I'm gathering. Any more, no comments? All those in favor of receiving the correspondence, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded? Motion carried, thank you. We have a correspondence from a resident cost sharing paratransit. Can I get a motion to either accept or receive that
I
correspondence?
have a motion for that, yeah, I move to accept the correspondence from a resident with respect to the need for paratransit services in Hanwell, and authorize and direct the clerk to investigate the possibility of cost sharing the service with the city of Fredericton.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I have a discussion question. I don't know if the person on the committee that's for, if you might know, Councillor Fox, because they also have the Batmobile in the city. Is that privately owned or is that funded by the city, do you know?
I do not know.
I don't.
Yeah, it's worth looking at that too, to see if they're being subsidized.
There it is, contracted.
It is contracted, yeah, so that may be something that we can work out with them. That'd be interesting.
Okay, any other comments, questions? All those in favor of the motion?
There's something in the expenses, that's part, and again, the treasurer would have to explain. There's an expense in January, Transit Urban Rides, CRSC, for $741. I don't know what that's for. Is it some type of cost-sharing ride agreement or anything like that that might?
Again, that could be the amount for the mandated services for transportation,
is,
for the
yeah.
urban rural ride. I'm thinking that's what it is,
Urban
but
rural rides.
yeah, but I'd best leave that question for the treasurer to answer, but I'm quite sure that's what it's for.
Okay.
I think part of the problem is that Urban Rural Rides doesn't have a dedicated paratransit vehicle.
No, they
Right,
don't.
so we would need something like a Batmobile to get that added.
I can appreciate what she's going through, having a special needs job myself, and knowing many other people have had the expenses of adapting a van for wheelchair use. It's not inexpensive.
Can't imagine the younger person around in the community, like, I'm sure if people see them, they might wanna jump on board, so look into it. I mean, it's a great idea.
So, yeah. Once we have it figured out, then, then we advertise, right, because I'm sure there's people that can use it. Absolutely, this room sitting here, there's people that would use it.
Just got me in time, Councillor Heisler.
Okay, so yes, I do think it's a great idea. I'm curious, like, so I know the schools, like the Department of Education obviously has vehicles that they can pick up. So is there any way even to partner with?
That's DTI though, right?
Right, but is there any, do they go out to other areas at any time?
No, I shouldn't say no. All I know is whenever I had to transport my son, it was on my dollar, and
Okay.
my vehicle my adaptations, whatever was necessary.
Okay, I was just wondering if they were used all the time or how that all works, I'm not sure.
Yeah, something to
Okay,
gain.
so
that-
something to figure out.
Yeah, something to figure out in the long run. Any more questions, comments, council? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded? Motion carried, thank you. Okay. Item C, correspondence from Minister Savoy on an SNB assessment of Kingswood Signature Golf Course. Can I get a motion to receive the correspondence from Minister Savoy?
I move to receive the correspondence from Minister Savoy with respect to the assessment of Kingswood Signature Golf Course.
Seconder?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Yeah. Questions, comments?
Bummer.
Councillor
The,
Councillor Rigla?
the letter was not clear on what the reasoning was. Based on what the research that had been done here, there was a significant part of the golf course was in Hanwell, so how could they come to that conclusion?
I can add some clarity to that, because if you go on to the SNB assessment mapping site, when you look at those PIDs or those pans that are on there and those accounts that are on there, when you click on the account that he shows, it shows the golf course closest to the highway, but it shows all of the golf course being in the city of Fredericton under that pan when you look at under the taxing authority it's tied to. And then when you click on the part that's in Hanwell, it just shows a little triangle piece of property down to the lower left of that shows that's a particular property in Hanwell. So I think it's more of an issue with the mapping on the SNB site, and that's something I've got to get a chance to correspond back to either Minister Savoy or the manager of assessment. So it's something I'm in the process of finding that out and either get to correct the map. It's obviously an issue with the mapping. So the assessment may be correct on the amounts that are going to Hanwell for the golf course, but it doesn't show it that way on the map. So that's something we want to pursue. Okay. Any other questions, comments? All those in favour signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you, council. Item D, donation request, Hanwell Para Athlete. And that's a letter that came in late. Has everybody got a chance to read that? Okay. Can I get a motion for the accept the donation request?
I move to accept the correspondence from a resident requesting help in funding a para-athlete who is a member of the Canadian Down Syndrome swim team in her competitive swimming goals, and authorize and direct the clerk to make a donation in the amount of $500.
Is $500 suitable? For sure, okay.
That's the same amount as we
donated last time.
donated for the current.
And that's been motion is okay, it's been made and seconded. Any questions, comments?
No.
All those in favour signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you, council. Okay, moving on to item 13, meeting of special events. Item is first one is the mayor's report. So everybody received a copy of the mayor's report?
I move to receive the mayor's report as presented.
Seconder?
Second.
I
Questions?
have a question. When is I wasn't able to make the Hamwell Days meeting on the 27th. I had a conflict. When's the next one?
No, well, it will be, but after the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, the next meeting hasn't been decided yet.
Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss something because I missed that meeting.
No, you're good.
Okay, good.
Any other questions, comments? All those in favour signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, the item 14 is we have a rural plan review. No, we missed one. Infrastructure and Parks Management meeting. We have minutes from that?
I'm going to receive the Infrastructure and Parks Management Committee report.
I'll second.
Any questions, comments? Oh, Councillor
There
Hicks.
is
Holt.
an issue in attendees. It should be amended such that Councillor Holt was present.
Oh. I missed you.
That's okay, I missed them too.
We'll make sure Councillor Holt's name is added to the attendees.
I'm not difficult.
Any other questions? All those in favour of receiving the report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded. Motion carried, thank you. Okay, we have item H, the rural plan review. We have a rural plan review report.
Oh, one same thing, Councillor Holt was at it too, and I missed him.
Councillor Holt, you're gonna have to speak up.
I did?
Yeah, that's how I noticed it.
Okay.
It's just a clerical error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also somebody else missing too.
I move to receive the rural plan review report dated February 29th, 2024.
Seconder,
I'll second.
questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you, council. So we have a Hanwell Days Committee report.
I move to receive the Hanwell Days Committee report dated February 27th, 2024.
Seconder, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, item 15, on the CAO Treasurer's Report. I need a motion, please.
I'll move to authorize and direct the treasurer to pay the invoice from Broadnet in the amount of $6,750 plus HST for the new server.
I'll second.
Questions? Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
I also move to accept the CAO treasurer's report as presented.
I'll second.
Question? Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, so we don't have anything, reports I don't believe under the old business, recreation building, the rural plan progress report. Item 17, new business, appointment of bylaw officers for the Capital Region Service Commission. I need a motion.
I move that the Council of the Rural Community of Hanwell appoint the following employees of the Capital Region Service Commission as bylaw enforcement officers within the municipal boundaries of the Rural Community of Hanwell until such time as they are no longer employees of the Capital Region Service Commission. Keith Manderville, Jeff Long, Thomas Harding, Brian Sharp, Lonnie Forbes, Robin Canavan, Sharman Armstrong, and Ashley Brown.
I'll second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried, thank you. Item B, housing crisis presentation, donation to Habitat for Humanity.
So that's, I was gonna, a little preamble, I guess, for this.
Oh, okay.
So,
Read it.
so you guys are all attending this housing crisis presentation, they're asking for a donation. So, staff kind of recommends maybe anywhere from $30 to $50 a person, it's up to you, but.
We also have one member of the rural plan committee,
Okay.
one ticket too.
So that's my preamble.
How many are attending?
She said 9, she reserved
Nine seats, yeah.
Does that count?
9 seats, she reserved 9 seats total.
Yeah, but at one point, we still had a couple left.
Yeah, there were
But she
7
still
of us
res- yeah.
attending and there were 9.
Yeah, she reserved
Oh,
9
she
seats.
was also paying for
9
9,
seats,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So, what, if my math serves me correct, 9 times 50 is $450.
Seems like a reasonable donation.
So Councillor Fox, do you want to continue with your motion?
I move to authorize and direct the clerk to make a direct donation in the amount of $450 to Habitat for Humanity.
I'll second.
Questions?
Will
Comments?
that donation be made the night of the event, or will it be made prior to that?
I don't know what they expect.
Yeah, we can find out whatever they prefer. It'll be a check from Hanwell anyway. To
Yeah,
that, yeah.
just would make sense to do it. I don't know what.
Either on or before.
Yeah, I don't know.
Best is to check with them, 'cause I'm sure there'll
Yeah.
be lots of people coming, so they'll know what they prefer.
Any question?
Any other questions? Councillor Fox?
I would just suggest we just let them know that a check will be sent directly to Habitat for Humanity, and we just send it. It's easy, it just saves a step.
Yeah.
Charities like it that way, you just get it directly.
Okay, we'll see that that's done. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried, thank you. Strategic plan, item C, I need a motion.
I move to authorize and direct the CAO to send out a request for proposal for the 5-year strategic and implementation plan.
Seconder,
I'll second.
question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried, thank you, council. Asset management plan, can I get a motion, please?
I move to authorize and direct the CAO to work with Gemtech
to get a report on the values and amortizations of the assets that were transferred from the province for fire services upon confirmation from Dave Kelly and Associates Auditor, that this report will be able to be used to complete her audit of our financial statements.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded. Motion carried, thank you. Okay, upcoming activities are the Zoomers, Mondays at 2 and Thursdays at 12. Can I get a motion to go into closed session, please?
Move to go into closed session.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded. Motion carried. We are now in closed session. Okay, can I have a motion to come out of closed session, please?
I move to come out of closed session
Second.
and move back into open session.
Seconder,
I'll second.
question, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We are now in open session. I believe we have a motion to put forward.
I move to accept the correspondence regarding the proposed addition to reserve village and send a letter in support of the proposal.
I'll second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you, council. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Thank you, council. Meeting adjourned at 8:25.